Hello there, Internet friends. I am Danielle Pierce, the creator of Property Preservation Mastery and founder of Real Estate Profit Lab. We have the best property preservation training in the country. Just consider me your national property preservation expert. I'm a 14-year full-time real estate entrepreneur, have over 300 five-star reviews. You can find those out on Google, Facebook business page, and our online course platform. So you can do that at your leisure. But today, I'm not actually here to talk to you about property preservation. We launched a new product. It's called Side Hustle Heavy. It is an absolutely phenomenal offering. And essentially, it's a membership platform where you will have immediate access to our ebook, Baby Steps to Financial Freedom, which has over 30 plus recession proof side hustles, which can generate a consistent 1,000 books or so every single month. Also, you'll have access to a monthly detailed training, which I'll be hosting. Uh, every single month on one of the side hustles. And then lastly, we have a Facebook community, Side Hustle Heavy, and that's where all the best practices, wins, success stories, any areas of concern, all of that will be um, driven or guided through the Facebook group. So would love to have you guys join us if you haven't already. To get more information on that, just visit sidehustleheavy.com. I do have to tell you though that the last day to take advantage of our early bird pricing is tomorrow at midnight. If you've been following us and follow any of our programs, any product that we've ever introduced, that is accurate. It's not just marketing. It's not just, just clickbait. Tomorrow at midnight is going to be the deadline. And sure enough, every time we do this, we get dozens of emails after the fact, oh, I forgot about the time zone. Oh, I was at work. Oh, I was doing this. I understand you and I hear you. But nevertheless, tomorrow at midnight is going to be the last day that you can register for early bird pricing. After that, the price is going to triple, right? And then, real quick, we also are doing lifetime memberships, so where you don't have to pay the monthly fee, you just pay a one-time fee, have access forever. Not sure if you know this, it is super, super phenomenal to be connected to me, to Real Estate Profit Lab, in any capacity, because we help you, get to secure the financial. We help you secure the financial shift that you're looking to make. So, you should go ahead and make that happen. SideHustleHeavy.com. All right, so real quick, I shouldn't say real quick. I want to talk today about the time frame to when I was not able to basically help my mother out in the capacity in which I wanted to, and what that looked like. I know in our community, or I always speak about the Black community because I'm a Black woman, but I'm sure is true for other communities as well. We often downplay the significance of money as if it's crass to talk about money. Oh, you shouldn't put your business in the streets. Oh, you don't have to worry about money. God will provide all these different things. But I can think of 50, 11 examples from my life when the only thing that I needed was some damn money. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that regard, right? It's like I've done all the prayers, I've done all the affirmations, I've done all the things, and I still need some money. So that's kind of where I'm coming from today. So I'm talking about my mother. She had a stroke April 29th, 2010. I remember it because I was driving down Stony Island, got a call from her partner who's still around. Shout out to him. Um, and he just said, he found her. He went back into the apartment and he found her just laying there in a chair. And he said he kind of knew immediately what it was. And as soon as he told me, I knew what it was. And I figured it was a stroke because my mother, like many women, like many Black women, carried a lot of stress and strife and frustration, um, on a day to day basis, and had probably been doing so for many years. Um, my mother was the oldest of nine, and she had us. There were five of us, five children, primarily a single mom. My dad was in and out, had a severe alcohol problem and drug problem. And so she carried a lot with her. And I don't know that she ever dealt with it. I don't recall her ever saying she went to a therapist. I don't recall her ever saying she even, you know, was looking for a therapist. I don't recall um, anything like that at all. I don't even recall any acknowledgement of the stress that she carried. I think that it had become commonplace and normal for her. And so she ultimately ended up having a stroke. And prior to that, she'd suffered from really severe migraines to the point where she actually lost a couple jobs because her headaches were so bad that she couldn't take light, she couldn't get out the bed, and she would just lay there, and then like nothing she took would work. So she lost a couple jobs behind that. So she had a stroke. She was left with very severe aphasia, partial paralysis, and greatly reduced cognition. And her health has been a downward spiral ever since that day in 2010. And 10 years later, she's in, worse condition health wise than she was in the beginning. And I've always found this. I still, can't quite wrap my brain around how to process it, because the things that she loved to do most in life, reading, writing, dancing, laughing, talking, pretty much in that order. Like my love of reading comes from her. And so all the things that she loved to do most in the world, she's now unable to do. And so, they always say, look for the silver lining, look for the good in the story, look for the lesson. And I still can't figure out what the lesson is supposed to be. Um, so shortly after she had the stroke, of course, she lived in Harvey at the time. So she spent some time in Ingalls. The stroke unit there, I can say, I don't know what it's like now, but it was pretty good when she was there. I can't say anything bad about the Stroke Rehabilitation Center and the team that took care of her. The thing about when they brought her to the hospital was that apparently there's things they can do for strokes that only work within certain time windows. And so, because we didn't know how long she'd been laying there, we didn't know when the stroke officially started. So, whatever that thing is that they could do, they didn't do. So she had the stroke, and they kind of showed us the brain scans, and I mean, you could see it. Like strokes are essentially, I don't want to use the phrase "kill your brain cells," but it shifts the neurons in your brain, and so things don't work the way that they used to in a very short period of time. Like your life literally changes in the span of minutes. So shortly after she had the stroke, she was at the rehab facility, and she made some small improvements there. Um, she was very, very against uh, speech therapy because, like I said, her cognition has greatly reduced now. But right after the stroke, she was aware, very aware of the difference between how she was and how she used to be and the way she was after the stroke. Like she was very aware of that difference, and she was infuriated by it. So they were trying to do speech therapy, and she would just go off, like just screaming, yelling, kind of like it was like a personality shift. And it just was because like my mother was queen of reading, queen of writing, queen of articulation, and 50 five-syllable words. So she just wasn't having that. And so, like I said, she made some small improvements there. But I do wonder, I wondered it then and I wonder it now, what would have happened if I had been in financial position to get her into the kind of treatment facility that she really needed. Because we all know that in America, the great equalizer is money. Great equalizer is money. Very similar to people who have drug addictions and they go into you know, low budget treatment facilities. The care that you get there is very different than the care you get at a facility that, let's say, where a celebrity might, go to or be able to afford. So I've always wondered, like, what would have happened if, I'd been in a financial position. We've been in financial position, meaning collectively the entire family, or if she just even had something like living benefits insurance, something where she could pull from to get her the care that she needed. Because the one thing about having a stroke is that the the window to like really throw treatment and therapy at it is relatively, I don't want to say it's small, but it shortens over time. So the longer you wait to get the type of care that you need, the less likely you'll be to get the results that you need. So I wondered that about my mom. I also wondered that about my brother. He was recently. I found out recently that he died, um, and his he had a drug addiction, which started at a very young age, like probably 16 or 17, and it's like he did it, and he took that turn, and he never course corrected along the way. Um, but I do wonder, what would have happened if, again, we'd had the money to say, you know what, you need to go here into those places where you can't leave, like where they kind of guarantee you a certain level of results versus, here's this, off-brand treatment facility, or here's this, startup facility or this locally run facility where we'll try our best, but we don't make any guarantees. And, the person gotta, want to have help and things like that. Um, and again, we all like to pretend that money doesn't matter. Find your passion and you'll find your passion and don't worry about money, or, money is, not that important. It doesn't fix everything. But like I said a few moments ago, it can fix a high percentage of day-to-day issues that most people face. The reasons why my mother had high blood pressure and had those migraines, that was just due to money. That was just due to money. The stress that I saw her go through as a child. And I mentioned, in another video how I remember I wanted to buy a perm one day. It was $3 at Ventures. Couldn't afford that. How I had to take my first money from my real job, my first real job, I should say, as an intern at Georgia Pacific, how that money was used to pay rent. Like all those are money problems. Like we could pretend that they're um, other things, but it just comes down to money. I think that we need to fight on the revenue generating side as opposed to blame, shame, finger pointing, and just cutting back like all the pleasures out of life. Like I just don't believe in it. I just think it's so silly. And really I think it comes from a place of privilege, to be honest. So I'm reading this book called Mastery. Again, shout out to my partner Thomas, he recommended it. And so far so good. It's by the same guy who wrote 48 Laws of Power, which I have not read, but I'll read that next. But in Mastery is talking about, finding your thing in life. Like what's your passion? What were you put here to do? So for my mom, I'm clear. Her passion, like if that woman could have went to school and got all the degrees, she got her bachelor's degree at like 50, like right before she had the stroke. So in her 50s, she got her bachelor's degree in criminal justice at Chicago State. And then she went back and she wanted to do her master's. And I'm sure she would have got a PhD. Like that woman loved school. Now that she did not pass down to me because I love learning. But as far as me going to somebody's classroom and sitting down and being lectured to for 3 hours, like that ain't it. Guess I've always been a little bit of a rebel because freshman year, U of I was the same way. I was like, oh, I ain't going to class. Just give me the test, tell me what to study, tell me what time to show up, and I'll be there. So that's how I learn. Like I have the will and the motivation to get it done on my own terms and show up to take a test. And obviously, that's not the case for everybody. But my mother, yeah, she loved to go to school, loved learning, loved reading books. Like she read thousands and thousands of books over the years. And so that was her thing. And so my thought today was even having the space to find out what your thing is. That is a form of privilege. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. I say that because if you are worried about where your next meal is coming from, or you're worried about how to pay rent, or you just got a disconnect notice for the light bill or the gas bill, or the water is off, all of these things, which I've experienced growing up, if that's your day to day reality, then how in the hell do you have time to sit back and ponder and ask the universe, what am I here for? What should I be doing with my life? How can I go and make a difference in the world doing what I love to do? Like that doesn't happen until you're in a space where you are financially stable somewhat. Then you have the space and the grace to figure out what am I here for? What do I even like to do? Most of us have no clue. I'm still thinking about that right now. Like real estate is cool, but do I feel like it's my life's passion? Like I was put here, I was created to to do property preservation. I can't say that. I mean, teaching, I do love that. A little bit impatient though to be like a full blown full time teacher somewhere. Like that's probably not it. The reading and writing for sure, like that's there. But outside of that, I'm still figuring it out, and I think many of us are. And again, that's because we've been struggling and striving for so many years. It's like, well, shit, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't even know what I like to do at this point. All the time, the years that I spent doing, different side hustles, broker price opinions. I mean, they were cool. It was easy work, but did I love it? Nah, I didn't love it. Paid the bills though. It got me to the point where I was able to be here today, right? That's what it did. And and again, this is the ironies of life. So I get to a position in life where now I can help my mother, or I could help my mother. I could put her in the facilities that, um, would really make a difference. But that window may have passed to where the recovery that, a full recovery is probably not going to happen. Um, Physically, now she's almost completely paralyzed, so not able to move at all. She had another small stroke not too long ago. So it's like I had all these plans. And like I said in a Facebook post the other day, it's like, humans make plans and God laughs at us because now I'm in a position to do the things that I've been wanting to do. And now, again, that time is gone. So sometimes in life, I've just had to accept that better late than never is not always the case, and you just have to be okay with that. But had I not done all the work in the beginning and done all these side hustles, I'd never built a business and I never get to be in this position at all. So I say all that to say that, yeah, money is important. Um, all the people who say things like, don't do things for money, do things because you love it, or money doesn't matter. Usually it's rich people who say stuff like that. But for me, I'm always like, I want to find out. Like I want to get to that level, and then I want to come back and report and determine if that's actually the case, right? That's what I want to do. It matters. Not to the. It doesn't matter over anything. It doesn't matter over everything there is in life. It's not of. It's not something you should kill or steal for, but it does matter. It matters. And so for many people, what our goal is, or what my goal is to make sure that, the offerings that we include in Side Hustle Heavy are consistent enough and generate enough cash to start to plant seeds that can, that trees and then eventually forests can grow in, to the point where you build your confidence up and you shift your mindset enough to realize that um, these things are possible. Unrelated, but I have to mention it here because I just found out about it. Unrelated, well, somewhat unrelated. I am going to be doing a video interview with my best success story, right? Because there's one on the YouTube channel now, but we have another one that has surpassed that. And I think this is on a monthly basis, right? So we have a student in our property preservation mastery program, been there for a while, did $50,000 last month, due to all the snow in Chicago. $50,000, y'all, in real life. That's the transition. Like that's the goal. That's the shift that I would like for everybody to make. Who desires to make that inside of the program that they paid for a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But that video is coming soon, so be on. Stay tuned for that. With regard to my mom and my brother, my mother's still here, and I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted on the outcome of what I have planned over the next several months in terms of really pouring into her the way that she poured into me. Um, even with the limited resources and the limited time, and I won't say limited knowledge, but just the limitations that she had, like she still was able to do it. Was it perfect? I mean, well, who's perfect though, right? But I do want to find out. So that's my the next iteration or the next evolution that I plan to embark on. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. For all the 100 or so folks who become founding members of Side Hustle Heavy, shout out to you guys. Congrats again to all the lifetime founding members as well. These are the folks who just paid a one-time fee and they won't have to ever pay a fee again. And like I said in the beginning, it is super beneficial to be connected to me. Now, if that sounds pompous or arrogant to you, you'll have to ask yourself why, because these are just facts that I'm stating. These are just facts. And I know what I know and I know what I don't know. So again, super beneficial for that connection to be made. And again, you just visit sidehustleheavy.com to do that. After tomorrow, there'll be no more lifetime memberships, which will be very sad because I know I would be jumping at the bit to get a lifetime membership. for something like this because we always continue to add value over the years. Very similar to our property preservation program. It's only gotten better and better. And everybody who's ever paid for it, well, guess what? They can still get into it. So whether they get started, a couple years later or they get started right away, they're still going to be in good hands. Um, and again, with Side Hustle Heavy, one detailed training every single month, hosted by myself, access to a private Facebook community, and then our ebook, Baby Steps to Financial Freedom, with over 30 plus recession proof side hustles to generate an extra $1,000 or so every single month. $1,000 or so a month is not a lot of money. However, it makes a difference, right? $1,000 makes a difference. I don't care how much money you have. I don't know if you guys know this, but the most wealthy people often tend to be the most frugal and penny pitching. I think that, they have things that they splurge on, right? Like everybody has something that you kind of just, make it rain on. But outside of that, tend to be very, very, very frugal. Like the time, real quick, when I was at a closing in Chicago and somebody held up the closing over $100 and they had a millionaire, right? That's who this person was. They had basically access to, $1 million cash in the bank. Held up a closing for 2 hours over $100. That was an eye-opening experience. So again, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please visit sidehustleheavy.com to get more information about the membership, about the deadline, which is tomorrow at midnight, to register and take advantage of our early bird pricing. Pricing will triple after the 28th at midnight. And I'd hate for you guys to pay more when you definitely have an opportunity to pay less. As always, um, like, subscribe, share the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Oh, and how could I forget? Tomorrow, tomorrow again is the last day of our, launch phase that we're in before we all these discounts expire. And I am doing a one-time Side Hustle Heavy webinar where I'll be doing screen shares and showing receipts and showing kind of a under behind the red curtain glance, so to speak, into the program. So that'll be again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So be sure to tune in from wherever you are watching from. All right. So thank you so much. As always, sending you love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity. Good night.